Hello everyone and welcome to the Lunar Review. I'm your host Vanessa and welcome to Aries season. Aries is an interesting sign because it's the first of the zodiac and it's also a very yang sign. It's fire, it's cardinal, and when I say it's yang, I mean that it's masculine in nature. And we have opposing yang, we have yin. So everything that yang is, yin isn't. For example, yang is hot and dry, so yin is cold and wet. And when I say Aries is a cardinal sign, that means it initiates a season. A cardinal sign, it kicks off a new season. And with Aries, it's the spring equinox. And on this day, the sun is just starting to claw back its way into longer hours. So every day, the sunlight gets a little bit longer. So that's a big, strong impetus behind the initiatory force that is Aries. Aries is also a fire sign, so there's a lot of passion and drive and even intuition associated with fire. And the ruling planet for Aries is Mars. And Mars is how sharp are our survival instincts. Mars is how we take action. It's our bravery and our courage. And the symbol of Mars is a circle with what looks like a little arrow coming out of it. And what it symbolizes is, the circle symbolizes unity and wholeness. And the arrow coming out is the start of individuation. It's the force leaving wholeness and going out and becoming an individual. So it's the start of individuation. And it's birth. It's also a violent process. It's bloody and messy, and it can be quite painful. But this is what it takes to initiate, and that's why Aries is also considered the spark of life. Aries energy embodies the warrior spirit. There is a lot of courage and ambition and independence, and there's an incredible will to do things first and be the pioneer and go into unexplored territory and really be the first one to try or attempt anything. Aries does have fear, but doesn't play out in this sign the way it does in other signs. It's almost as if this fear of not existing anymore, because Aries just came from the sign of Pisces, which is the ending of all things. So when you think there's actually quite a fine line between life and death, and Aries is spurred on by the fact that death is right there. It might not be a conscious thought, but the energy of Aries is incredibly forward moving, and it doesn't have to think and contemplate in the way that other signs do. They act better when they're spontaneous. They operate on instinct. So Aries is a very interesting sign. It's quite authentic, and by that I mean their thoughts and deeds and behaviors are quite in line with what they're thinking and they're feeling. If they're tired and they say they're tired, they're tired. If they say they want something to eat, it's because they're hungry. They don't have these ulterior motives. They're guileless. Although Aries is very courageous and can act very nobly, it also can be seen as quite pushy and direct and brash and quite rambunctious. And this makes sense when we think of the symbol of Aries. And the symbol of Aries is the ram. And I'm sure everyone has seen two male rams fighting over territory and the right to mate with the females of the herd. And so they challenge each other, and they keep their heads down, and they butt really hard. And it's the stronger male who becomes alpha. But this isn't just a brass, tough guy who, look how cool I am. It's much more than that, because what they're taking on is a sacred role. When they're alpha, they have to protect the herd at all costs, even laying down their life and risking injury. And with that, yes, it does come about privilege of being able to mate with all the females, but of course they want to mate with the strongest, and their offspring will have this courage and this valor and this, will to succeed and thrive. The glyph that represents Aries is a line with two little curls up at the top of it. And it reminds me of a Taoist principle that from the one, you get two. So Taoist philosophy tells us that the one begat the two, and the two are yin and yang, and they are opposites. So this is what brings polarity into our world. And this is the foundation for everything in existence in this dimension. So for every front, there's a back. I cannot be looking up and looking down at the same time. For every left, there's a right. And this is the way that our world functions. And Aries is basically the seed or the singularity that contains the whole. Thank you for listening to this video about Aries. And if you want to know in your chart what areas of your life where you are most likely to start things, to be bold and daring, and maybe not even be very calculative about what you're doing and strategizing. You can see in your chart where is it that you might act on instinct and where you're most likely to take chances, take a wild chance. Because Aries energy will always like to do things first and try new things. And there's sometimes a price to pay for going first. However, someone has to do it. Someone has to go first. And with an Aries constitution, you have the ability to deal with the circumstances if it doesn't quite work out the way that you wanted it to. So yeah, if you want to look at where your potent Aries energy is, just look on your chart and see what house Aries is in. Or you can also book a reading with me. You can find me at thelunarreview.com. Till next time, bye-bye.